What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Come On and Console. My name is Jason. Today it's another episode of Project PS2. I haven't added much to the PS2 collection for a while. I've been jumping into GameCube and Xbox 360 as you saw in the previous videos. But I did get a little handful of PS2 games over the last few weeks. Just kind of not random buys per se, a couple of games off the list that I wanted, some games that I've only been made aware of recently by videos on YouTube that look quite fun to play, so why not pick them up when they're dirt cheap, like £1 or £2. Anyway, let's have a look at what I picked up.
PlayStation.
So the first game I picked up is called Big Mother Truckers. This is what seems to be kind of like an arcadey truck game where you have to do a bunch of weird missions to get money and do things. I was made aware of this series. I think there's 2 games in this franchise. I was made aware of this game series by a channel called Triple Jump. They made a worst games ever video on the second game, and even by that standards, the idea of that game sounded really fun to me. So I wanted to pick the first game up on PS2. It was only £2, so it seemed worthwhile to me to pick up. Complete with manual as well, which is awesome. Yeah, don't really know much about it in terms of in terms of the gameplay mechanics per se, but it does look like just really fun. You get to do missions and earn money. Like you got to maybe offload a trailer to somewhere else, but it's an illegal trailer per se, so you might have to get away from the police and stuff. So it does seem quite fun. So it says on the back, 5 distinct cities with their own levels of supply and demand, waiting for you to make your millions. Drive or race to any town on any day in totally open environment. So it's an open world game. So it's like you're fulfilling a supply and demand for these different locations with your truck, and I think you can buy different things and make money on them and stuff. It does sound really fun as well. It sounds really fun, but it could be rubbish, who knows. That's Big Mother Truckers. Next up is a action, I guess like a hack and slash character action game called Genji. This is kind of similar to Onimusha in the regards that it's like it's in feudal Japan, pretty much Sony's answer to Onimusha. I remember playing this years ago. I don't remember too much now. I have picked up the sequel as well on PS3 a little while ago for £1. That was super cheap. This one was super cheap, about £3-4 I think in CEX. Not as cheap as the sequel, but it's pretty good. I remember this being pretty fun, pretty decent. I think you've got multiple characters to play with, like you can swap characters. I remember it being very similar to Onimusha and Devil May Cry. Even on the back it says, from legendary game creator Yoshiko Okamoto, Onimusha, Devil May Cry and Resident Evil. So yeah, it comes from the ilk of Onimusha, so this should be awesome. I do remember it, but very vaguely, right? As always with me on this channel, it is complete with the manual. Love to see it, guys, love to see it. That's Genji. Really excited to give this game a go. The next game is Batman Vengeance. I've always stayed clear of the PS2 Batman games because I've heard they're pretty terrible. But lately, people are coming out and saying they're fairly underrated. This game, Batman Vengeance, is based on the 90s cartoon and it looks pretty great, all things considered. I've seen footage of it on YouTube. It looks so much fun. It just gets the vibe, it gets the atmosphere of the 90s TV show to a T, basically. So I've got more of a interest in these Batman PS2 games now because I feel like people have kind of come out the woodwork and have said that actually these are quite underrated, you should pick them up. So definitely going to look out for the other ones of these. But yeah, Batman Vengeance, complete with manual, as you do. I'm a massive Batman fan as well, so I don't know why I haven't even just tried these. But I'm a big fan of the 90s cartoon, probably the best thing ever made for Batman in my opinion. But that's Batman Vengeance. Let me know, guys, is this any good? I don't know. It looks pretty awesome from gameplay, from what I've seen. And yeah, apparently these PS2 Batman games are really decent and underrated. So I suppose look out for these. I'm definitely going to be looking out for them. That's Batman Vengeance. In my games that I would like to see a remake for, I mentioned the series Syphon Filter. Specifically the first game. Super nostalgia for the first game. love it to pieces. I did say though in that video that I've never played any of its sequels. Syphon Filter 2, Syphon Filter 3, some of the PSP titles, and there's this PS2 game I've picked up right here. I love the cover art. I think it looked cool in the back. It looks like classic Syphon Filter to me. It's called Syphon Filter The Omega Strain. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think this might be, I could be wrong though, this might be a PSP re-release for PS2. I do know that they did re-release some of the PSP games, or the PSP game, which might be this one, or it might be a different one. I've not played this one yet, but I did want to get a Syphon Filter sequel for the collection on PS2. It's in great condition. The case is in beautiful condition. It's like a new case almost, right? Beautiful condition, complete with manual. Let me know, guys, should I pick up the other Syphon Filter games, you know, on PS1, and if there's other PS2 ones, should I pick up the other PS2 games? Let me know. That is Syphon Filter The Omega Strain. The final game is to add into my never-ending collection for Resident Evil. I'm on a proper mission to collect as many Resident Evil games as possible. I want them all on the PlayStation system, so I want all the PS1 games, I want all the PS2 games, I want all the PS3 releases. Yeah, I want as many Resident Evil titles in the collection as possible. You saw Friday's video. I picked up pretty much the whole line of Resident Evil titles for the GameCube, and this is where we get to Project PS2, and I've added another Resident Evil title to the collection. That is Resident Evil Outbreak. Now, I was aware of these Outbreak titles back in the day, but I never got around to playing them. I think the idea that they are co-op and you go online and you team up with other players kind of put me off a little bit. I was all about the solo single player experience, and you can do that with this, but it's kind of ill-advised. It makes the game difficulty even higher than it should be. But I'm looking forward to jumping into this just as a casual kind of give it another go kind of thing as a single player, so we can see. But yeah, I've got this CEX, I think it was like 10 quid. These games are getting up there in price, the Resident Evil titles, especially the more obscure ones like this. That is Resident Evil Outbreak, complete with manual. I do want to get the sequel as well, and there's obviously other PS2 Resident Evil titles that I do want for the collection, but that is Resident Evil Outbreak. I love that cover art. I just think it's so simple, it works so well. I love it. Yeah, definitely more Resident Evil titles to come to the collection soon. I love this franchise. It's my favourite franchise of video games, so you can expect more titles to be added to the collection for Resident Evil. That is Resident Evil Outbreak. So that is it, guys. That is the little additions to the Project PS2 list and collection. A very handful of games this time around, nothing major. I'm being a bit more selective with my PS2 pickups these days, because I feel like I've got a big, basically quite a lot of the titles that I wanted for the collection I have now. So it's just picking up those kind of unusual titles and those Resident Evil titles that I want for the collection. There's always going to be odds and ends of games that are not on the list that I do want to pick up, and I will, because you know, a video may persuade me to check it out, such as the Batman PS2 games. I want those now. I want to get those for the collection because they've piqued my interest now, that maybe I shouldn't have ignored them, and maybe I should have gone out of my way and picked them up. Anyway, guys, that is it for Project PS2 this episode. Let me know any of your thoughts on these games down below in the comments down below, and as always, guys, let's continue to build a PS2 collection.